Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Bunke here at the Warren Hills FMA Mid-Atlantic District event. I'm here with Team 8513 Sisters First, one of our up-and-coming top stars here in the FMA region. I'm here with Olivia, Katie, and Karina. They're going to be going over the different subsections of their robot and giving us a great tour of their machine here on Behind the Bumpers. All right, so Katie, you're going to walk us through the design implementation, some of the specifications of your robot first. Why don't you get us started?
Okay, so first I'd like to tell you a little bit about our intake. So our intake, these wheels spin upwards and they deploy our hopper. And we like to call this the grasshopper intake because these little legs here, they eliminate dead space where the fuel would just roll and roll and roll if there was nothing there to push them into the bumpers. And then we have a steel shaft here which prevents us when we get hard hits, maybe into the trench for other robots, from bending our intake. And we have two Krakens here for maximum power. That way when our intake is filled to capacity, which is about 80 fuel, our motors are still spinning and spinning and spinning. And we have churro back here on our intake. That way the fuel sit on top instead of resting on our intake wheels. And then these horns that you can see on the grasshopper, as we pull in, they hit these pins and they pull the hopper back into the robot.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. As you're getting ready for the competition season, think AndyMark as your one-stop shop for all your team needs. AndyMark's Launcher in a Box is a configurable solution that so many teams are finding success with for the rebuilt season. Also available at AndyMark.com, the AMPD AndyMark Power Distribution Board that provides 24 40-amp independently fused output channels for safe, reliable power distribution. That's AndyMark.com. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs in their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first.
Can I ask a question about the intake here? So two questions. First off, what had you land on the churro on the back? Did you pick that out of the gate, or was that a design iteration process?
That was a design iteration process. So we were having a lot of issues with our wheels, not being able to spin up all the way because there was so much fuel resting on top of them. Our robot gets super heavy when it's filled to capacity, and so those wheels couldn't spin because there was so much resting on them. And so this is just a little under the diameter of a fuel, so that way they won't sit on top of those wheels.
Okay, gotcha.
And so our intake is also powered rotationally underneath the hopper on our brain pan. And something cool about our drive base is that it's made of an iso-grid pocketing, which is the type of grid that NASA uses in aerospace to pocket all of their heavy metals to save weight because it distributes load really nicely. And then I'd like to talk a bit about our hopper. So this pocketing on our robot is actually to let fuel stick out a little bit. That way we increase our capacity by about maybe 5 fuel, which can make or break the match. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about our shooter. So you can see it has an adjustable hood, which moves on a rack and pinion. These are helical gears that we printed and catted ourselves. And they have about 25 degrees of freedom. And so that lets us both shuttle fuel and make really close shots into the hopper. And then I'd also like to talk about our flywheels. So this is really important to us to be able to maintain inertia because our shooter is 19 inches across, meaning we shoot 3 fuel at once and up to 20 fuel per second. So maintaining inertia is super important when you're shooting that much. We have 4 pounds of steel flywheels, and they're geared up to 150% speed as the shooter wheels. And then I think that's most of what we had to talk about. And one thing we didn't talk about is not having a climber. We started prototyping a climber at the beginning of our season, and then we decided that it wasn't really going to be practical for us strategy-wise, and our robot, being a triple-wide shooter, is already really heavy, so having a climber just wasn't necessary and wasn't part of our possibilities.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then I'd like to pass this on to our mechanical lead, Karina, to do this demonstration.
Hi, so first we're going to start over by our intake. We'll get sucked in by our grasshopper. So, 1 second. Woo! It goes slowly. Okay, and so then you can see the fuel is transported into our indexer, which we then designed with PET-G rollers, and they're designed to specifically keep the fuel from moving. We had originally designed with rollers, and we noticed that the fuel kept getting stuck. It would just roll in place. But now the fuel, as you can see, gets sucked in, and if the indexer kept going, the fuel would go right in there. And then we have mecanum wheels. That fuel's gone. So the mecanum push the fuel straight into our kicker wheels, which then follow the churros up into our shooter, then we have, our static and active shooter. And this, if you've ever heard our robot, it makes a really fire-cracking sound. And this is due to us heat pressing polycarb, and it now bounces against our active hood.
So, Karina, let me ask you something.
Yes.
What do you?
Thank you. Sorry.
What do you think is the most call it reliable aspect of your shooter? Like, I love the design, right? Katie talked about the custom printed, custom design, gearing system. You guys did a lot of iteration, obviously, on your roller system. What portion of the system do you think is the least likely to jam or get stuck or fall behind?
Yeah. So, like I said, I think with we had so much different prototyping iterations of the indexer. We had so much that we were able to really perfect it, and I do think that it has been. We haven't had any problems with it at Warren Hills, and sorry, lost my voice. And the mecanums and the kicker wheels have been working beautifully.
Yeah. I mean, the spacing is great. You guys really optimized the layout, and the fact that you designed the sides of this hopper to allow for additional capacity is like an awesome idea. Very impressive, guys. All right.
And I'd like to pass it over to Olivia when she's going to show us how the controls work.
Okay, so first off, I want to start with vision. We run 4 orange pies that all run photon vision to 4 separate RGB cams, and we get around 260 to 270 degrees of vision. Our odometry is usually pretty good, but we were worried about going over the bump and how that would mess us up, especially during auto. So we have these ones facing to the side so they can catch the April tags on the sides of the hub. Next up, I'd like to talk about our interpolation. So we use interpolation on 3 parts of our shot. We automatically update the hood angle, the shooter velocity, as well as the time of flight, which we calculate to determine the offset when we're shooting on the move. And then next up for controls, the driver joystick is this one, and the co-pilot uses these 2 button panels right there. The driver controls the robot translation and heading, and then automatically, we want to automate as much as possible, so when they're holding this button, it automatically faces the hub when we're in our alliance zone. But when we're in the neutral zone or the opposing alliance zone, it automatically faces one of these shuttle positions that the co-pilot chooses. So these all correspond to a certain place on the fields. And then for our shot that we automate, we have some fine tuning. So if we notice that we're consistently missing by shooting a little too far or shooting a little too close, they can press these buttons, which make the shot distance greater, and then make the shot distance a little shorter, and then left and right. So we want to automate as much as possible, but we do have some fine tuning in case of issues. These are unjam buttons for the indexer and kicker. And then we have this one, because as you notice, our hopper is pretty large, and we can lose some balls into the back end of the hopper that don't get pushed into the indexer. So what we do is we actually lift the intake up and push those last balls in.
All right, well, that does it. We just went through an awesome rebuilt robot from Team 8513 Sisters First. Thank you to Olivia, Karina, and Katie for giving us an excellent walkthrough. One of the most impressive robots we've seen so far at the first Mid-Atlantic region here at the Warren Hills District event. If you like this piece of content, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Jeff with the Fun Robotics Network. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs in their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. As you're getting ready for the competition season, think AndyMark as your one-stop shop for all your team needs. AndyMark's Launcher in a Box is a configurable solution that so many teams are finding success with for the rebuilt season. Also available at AndyMark.com, the AMPD AndyMark power distribution board that provides 24 40-amp independently fused output channels for safe, reliable power distribution. That's AndyMark.com.